Today I thought it'd be fun to discuss the best albums of each year in the 2010s. The 2010s is a pivotal decade for me personally, as I was growing up in that decade. I was a teenager and I was first discovering all the music that I ended up loving today and beyond that as well. And I thought, yeah, it was a fun idea to discuss the best album of each year in the 2010s. I have done a similar video to this before where I talked about every year since 1960 or something like that, but I want to do this video today where I focus solely on the 2010s. And since that video, a couple of those albums have in fact changed, so if you never saw that one, then it's good to stick around for this one because there are a few new surprises where I've ultimately reconsidered things and decided, yeah, actually that is my favorite album of that year. And some of these albums are actually some of my favorite albums of all time as well. So yeah, the 2010s, man, I feel like it's such an exciting decade for music. The internet started to really take off in a unique way, and we all began to find all kinds of different music, and yeah, it's caused annoying discourse, and there are some negatives that obviously come along with it, particularly in regards to music discussion and all that kind of thing. But I think it was a game changer for the way we access music. And like I say, if you're around my age or a little bit younger, the 2010s is probably a decade that means a lot to you as well. So yeah, I'm just going to run through from 2010 to 2019 and hit you with each one, with a few honorable mentions as well that I will throw in to kind of show you guys other ones that were really, really close. While there are some pretty fantastic albums in the 2010s, namely things such as The Age of Ads by Sufjan Stevens, Teen Dream is a big personal favourite of mine as well, The Roots with what I think is their best ever album, which some people don't seem to agree with, but How I Got Over is definitely the best combination of all the elements that made The Roots so special for me. And yeah, I think people need to realise, man, don't sleep on that album, man. It's such an amazing album. And of course, Four Tets There Is Loving You as well. A few ones that I do want to mention there. I actually don't think it's particularly that close. Like The ArchAndroid by Janelle Monáe is quite easily and comfortably the best album of that year for me. And I don't think that will ever change, even though some of these albums could be subject to change with the years going by. I just don't know, man. This is truly one of the best neo-soul R&B pop albums that we've ever really laid our ears on, man. It just combines so many wonderful elements together. The musicianship, the vocals, the writing, the concept is really unique as well. It's just doing something that I find really hard to find anywhere else. Like every single time a new album in this genre comes out, I'm just never quite as gripped or as blown away as I was with The ArchAndroid. It's by far and away her best album too. I don't think that's particularly controversial to say. Yeah, just special in every way. So many fun jams on this. The way some of the tracks transition into one another seamlessly is always a little cool, easy, little detail that I love when it comes to listening to music. Yeah, it's just got all the elements and all the makings of a brilliant album. It's got to be the best. 2011 also has some pretty damn great albums. A couple of obvious ones to mention being the R&B mixtapes of that year that are very much influential in the genre of music, I would say, particularly House of Balloons. But I also want to say Nostalgia Ultra should be included in that. I think it's a really underrated mixtape, but also I think it did pave the way for a lot of what came after. Also got Helplessness Blues, which is just a big soft spot for me for folk music. I love what Fleet Foxes do. And then Coco Ya with Frevo, which is definitely the more obscure album to be naming here, but a very, very cool album that I would highly recommend everybody checking out. But for me, number one is Emperor X, Western Teleport. And yeah, once I discovered this album, I was pretty blown away with the writing and the style of writing. And yeah, it's very John Darnielle, particularly with the vocals, but its influence isn't really too ham-fisted or anything like that. Sometimes influence can be off-putting, and it can be well, I can clearly see what you're trying to go for here. And it can go two ways. It either just feels a bit too much, or it just works really well. And I think this is a good example of it working really well. Some incredibly uniquely written songs on this album, some types of songs that you're just never really going to hear anywhere else. Yeah, incredibly unique, very underrated artist, but for me, 2011 has it locked in by Emperor X. 2012 has just some really obvious big hitters that I may as well mention here. Obviously, Fiona Apple with The Idler Wheel, just remarkable longevity with her and maybe even improved upon that album somehow with Fetch the Bolt Cutters, which is just goes to show how incredible she is, really. You've also got obviously Channel Orange. Like, come on, man. I don't need to mention any more about that one. This could have been my number one pick for the year, to be honest with you. You've also got Kineko Takiko, which I think is a wonderful shoegazy dream pop album. And then another pick that I wanted to mention for 2012 here was Friendzone's Collection 1, which is just like cloud rap and really at its best. Like, Clams Casino is very much like one of the pivotal artists of that genre, but Friendzone, I think, mastered it with this album. Just amazing stuff. But you're probably going to guess what the number one is. I think it's going to be a lot of people's number one. Good Kid, Mad City, man. Good Kid, Mad City. Yeah, come on. What's there to say? I've talked about this album so many times. It's just kind of obvious, but for good reason. 2013 is stacked, more so than I think some people remember it being, because some albums that I've discovered later on are just ridiculously bloody good. Like, I could name about 10 honorable mentions here. There's friggin' Daniel Avery, there's Adrian Lenker, there's friggin' Frankie Knuckles' Boiler Room set, which is one of the best Boiler Room sets of all time, easily. Probably the best, actually, if we're being honest. Just incredible stuff. You've also got Julia Holter, Jesus Christ, Ichigo Aoba. You've got the Drones, amazing rock album from them. Like, just crazy from start to end, just amazing stuff. Queens of the Stone Age with Like Clockwork. Wow, what an album that is. But for me, and only recently I realised this, but I would say the best album of this year is, in fact, Jason Isbell's Southeastern. Just one of the greatest country albums I've ever laid my ears on. If I were being completely honest, I would just say it is the best, because I do like country as a genre. I know it gets a little bit of a bad reputation and doesn't get that same recognition that other genres do, but the mainstream has soured people's perception of country music by a lot. But when you dig deep into his writing, the musicianship, just amazing stuff. Tracks like Elephant destroy me. If you've never listened to Elephant by Jason Isbell, do it right now. You will friggin' cry, I tell you right now. 2014 for me is just the year of undiscovered gems. There's just an absolute incredible amount of albums that do not get the love they deserve, that really should get that love. Obviously, Freddie Gibbs and Madlib being an obvious one, so I may as well get that out of the way. I think that's pretty close for being the best of that year for me. But there's also Jeremy Yafroshiwa with a beautiful classical album. There's K Tempest with the debut album Everybody Down, one of the better UK rap albums, I think, of the 2010s. There's also Bentley with Shiny Eyed Babies, an incredibly operatic and like really over the top rock album. It doesn't quite, get into the opera side of it, but it's just like how theatrical and just grand it all feels. It's so good. Like, the instrumentation times is ridiculous too. But anyone that knows me well will know that Masakatsu Tagaki takes this quite easily for the year 2014. Just a beautiful album. Just got these really like earthy and natural sounds running the whole way through it, with some beautiful piano instrumentals throughout as well. These little vocals, like quiet, whispery vocals that play throughout. It's a long album, but I would highly recommend you sit through it. It did become a bit more of a beloved album over time, but when I initially talked about it on this channel, it had like 200 ratings on Rate Your Music, which is insane. I'd like to think I had some kind of influence on it. I don't know if I did, but either way, just remarkable stuff. 2015 is a year with amazing pieces of work as well. You've got to mention Suzanne Sunfor here with 10 Love Songs, a real high contender for me. There's friggin' Joanna Newsom with Divers. What a remarkable album. Crazy to think that that's the last thing we've heard from her. I really hope that that isn't the final album ever. But if you do end on that, to be fair play to you. There's also Junun, which is a bit of an underrated one. Johnny Greenwood's involved in that album. Yeah, there are some really amazing albums. To Pimp a Butterfly. Have you ever heard of that one? I actually would be very close to saying this is the best, but I just have a real soft spot. And it's honestly like a tie, to be honest. Like, it's basically neck and neck between these two. But I have a real soft spot for Have You in My Wilderness by Julia Holter. That is one of the most gorgeous, sublime, stunning albums I've ever heard. That is some real beauty right there. And then watching her live and perform these songs, I think it just made the album sound even better to me. Like, it is very close between this and T-Pab, or To Pimp a Butterfly. It feels weird saying T-Pab. But yeah, really close. But I would slightly edge it to Julia, you know? I really would. 2016 is like the year for me. That was the one year where I really knuckled down and got into more music than I really ever did. It's a pretty spectacular year as well. When you look at like the quality of albums that came out that year, Jesus Christ, Black Star, David Bowie, holy moly. Injury Reserve with Floss, what an album that is. You've also got friggin' Regina Spektor, Remember Us to Life, a real personal favourite of mine. I think Regina generally is a fantastic artist, and it's really the last like exceptionally brilliant thing she's put out too. Not to say that she won't put out anything good after this, but yeah, it feels like that was like probably like the pinnacle of what she could do later in her career. But yeah, I mean, so many insanely good albums. Lori McKenna as well, underrated country album. But for me, the number one is We Got It From Here, Thank You For Your Service by Tribe. I think for a final album for a rap group so far into their career, it shouldn't have been this good. We've seen a lot of rappers come back later on, or rappers that have carried on since their peak years and just really struggle to maintain the quality. You know, they might still have the numbers and they might still put out good numbers in the mainstream, but it's just name recognition being able to do that, because some of these rappers just aren't really at the best of their years. And yet somehow Tribe came back so many years later and I think put out their best album. The rapping, the beats, everything just feels more of a refined version of what they did before. It's modernized. I like the way it feels like it's a bit of a passing of the torch as well, with some of the tracks where they throw out little name drops, and it's also you know, an homage to Fife as well. Like the album just has so much going for it. All the features on there, fantastic, so good. 2017 was the year that Not Real Music began, and my album of the year when I did it at the time hasn't changed, and I don't think will ever will, honestly. But that's not to say there aren't some amazing albums from this year. You got Rhapsody, you got Tyler, you got Sinjin Hawk, what an album that is. You've got Alex Cameron, loved Force Witness, man. I still think it's really great as well. Yeah, lots of real gems from 2017. Randy Newman dropped an underrated album that year too. But for me personally, As Remains, No Shape by Perfume Genius, just a stunning engineered album that's just sublime. The production is incredible, just amazing stuff. Vocally, it's so sad, but it's like really pained and emotional in a beautiful way. And the writing as well, when he kind of explores the like condition he has, the really rare condition he has, and pours it into the music in such a cool and unique way. It's one of the most uniquely written albums I've ever heard, and the music just backs it up as well. So yeah, it's just amazing. 2018 is a nice little year as well for some more underrated gems. You've got Hop Along, great album from them. You've got George Clanton, which is a real close one for me for being the best of this year. You've got Tropical Fuckstorm. Don't think they've ever topped this, to be honest with you. I still think that's their best work. There's also The Beths, Future Me Hates Me. Really nice little power pop punk album that is. Not a genre I tend to gravitate towards as much nowadays, but they really reignited my love for it with that one. But for me personally, as close as George Clanton is, very close, I would still say Avondale Bowling Club have the best album of this year for me personally. I still would say that, yes. Just a really wonderfully put together, constructed jazz rap album that really feels like true jazz rap as well. Like the instrumentation sounds really live and in the moment. The writing from Tom Scott is some of the best of the modern day as well. I think he's an incredible writer, touches on poverty and the life of like a working class dude. He talks about himself like he's an ordinary dude all the time, and I love that about it. Really powerful writing, really amazing instrumentation to back it up as well. Yeah, great stuff. And 2019 has seen a major change for my album of the year. While there are plenty of albums I still absolutely adore from that one, the debut album from Hachi, an underrated dream pop album for sure. You've got Nick Cave, you've got Injury Reserve as well. Like, so many wonderful albums from that year. But at the time, I did crown Shinichiro Yokota as my album of the year. And I'm really glad I did. I'm really still glad I did. Because not only is he a super underrated artist that deserved that shine and doesn't get that kind of respect that he deserves, and also a genre of music as well that doesn't really get highlighted, even amongst music nerds, really, like house and techno and that kind of stuff, just doesn't get that same amount of love as other genres do. So I am glad I did it, but over time, and when I reviewed this album, I didn't even like it, so it's kind of crazy looking back now, but over time, this album's just grown to be one of my favorite albums ever, and I didn't get it initially, but Igor by Tyler Creator, I think, is the best album 2019 looking back. I can retrospectively look at it now and go, yeah, you know what? I didn't get it, but now I do, and it stuck with me. I play this album so often. It's so replayable. The concept is remarkable as well. I love the way it highlights the ugliest side of ourselves too, in such an unapologetic way. Like, yeah, we do get into these situations where we have feelings for somebody, and it makes us, think things we don't always really want to think. Those intrusive thoughts just kind of clam you up and completely take you over, and it highlights that so brilliantly. And yeah, just a unique album that, sure, the vocals initially didn't work for me, but yeah, it's not an album that I think you're necessarily going to get straight away, so it makes sense that it was an album that took all these years for me to fully get and appreciate. But God, man, one of the most unique albums of our time. There really isn't anything like it, to be honest with you. And yeah, Tyler came through with something incredible there. So I had to be honest with myself all these years later and recrown the best album of 2019. I'm sure many of you would understand and agree with this pick, though. I think it would be a lot of people, so I'm not really breaking new ground here. And that is it from me. These are the best albums of each year of the 2010s. In my opinion, of course. It is only ever just my opinion. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree, disagree? What would all your picks be for each year? List them out for me. Let me know your thoughts on my picks. Do you agree, disagree? If there are any new albums that you're not familiar with here, I would highly recommend you check them out. That would be wonderful. And then let me know your thoughts after as well. I know people watch these videos to look for their taste to be agreed upon, or their taste to be validated, but it's always important to check out the recommendations, because I really do like to champion those albums that really should get more love than they do, and hopefully you would agree with them as well. As always, check out the Patreon, check out the membership page if you want to support me. These videos are done in my free time. I work a full-time job, so it'd be great to see you guys support over on there. Keeps the channel going, shows appreciation, but at the very least you can like, share the video, and subscribe as well for more content. Let me know what I should do next. Have a good day,